Hello, welcome back. Today I want to explain a bit about the engine, so like all the parts that are in the engine and what tuning was needed to fit the parts, and we're gonna do a little check of the engine. So to start with, it's a Malossi RC1 Piaggio version crankcase. So that means this is an aftermarket part made by Malossi. It's very nice. This is what allowed like the whole scooter tuning to allow it to go like the next level, because the last thing we needed was aftermarket cases. All the parts were already aftermarket, like pulleys and cylinders and pipes, but this allows to mount other type cylinder, like with external flanges, like in the dirt bikes, and also it has a better intake. So as you can see, this has a four bolt pattern intake. The stock only has 2 bolt pattern. So yeah, the cases are longer though, so they are the long version. Normally Piaggio Zip uses a short version, but it's only a little bit longer, and this helps also with like maybe, I don't know, wheel clear. Well, it helps a lot with the wheel clearance basically, because we were putting very huge carbs over here, like this one. So see, this is very huge carb, and the problem I used to have with my RT engine was that the carb kept touching the back wheel. So now you have way more space to put between the underside of the carb and the wheel. So yeah, these are the Malossi cases. Then what needed to happen, these cases are stock 44mm stroke, so that's for 94cc, but because the Roost cylinder is 100cc, and so that means 52 piston bore and 47 stroke crank. So that means you need to mill it out a bit further. So what needs to happen is you need to cut the inner part of the cases where the crankshaft is out to make the crankshaft fit. This is the crankshaft that turns the engine basically. I have chosen for the 2 fast crankshaft 47mm stroke and 95mm con rod length, with a 14mm piston pin. So that's the crankshaft. And then the cylinder is a Roost 100cc FL. So the new version is just changed a bit. It has a hole here, and I don't know exactly the timings what changed, but I heard it changed a very small bit from. I used to have the old one. This is the old one without the water hole, but already newer one than my first one. I had 3 basically. I had the first FL, then the second FL, and now I have the third FL. And this also, the head is different, I was told, because these heads don't fit the new. The thing that's different between the heads for the version 2 and 3 is that the version 3 goes a bit further into the cylinder. So this one is very narrow, and now we'll look at the head. So I already took the bolts off. Yeah, so let's have a look at the cylinder, because I drove it like 6 times now this year, because I didn't do much driving in the beginning of the year. I took a bit of a break from the scooter stuff, but now I'm totally back, and let's see. So first of all, I want to say I use normal pump gas fuel, 98 octane in it, and I use this oil, ALF HTX 976 plus. So let's look how clean the head is. I already took the bolts off and like the O-ring out to make it easier, but I haven't touched it inside. So yeah, as you can see, it's maybe a bit rich. Let's look at it under some better light. It looks, yeah, the head looks still perfect, no damage, no detonation. But I already suspected that because, yeah, you heard it on the tuning as well, it was maybe a bit too rich. And then the piston itself has a nice pattern. It has like the butterfly pattern. Yeah, it has a, looks perfect. Maybe a bit also on the rich side, but the pattern I think looks good. So yeah, I love the oil. It's very good oil. Not much. It doesn't leave much debris. So yeah, I'm gonna do, like, it still has lots of compression. There's no scratches on it whatsoever. So yeah, I think maybe I'm gonna put a new piston, but for now I think I drove it not even enough to use this piston up fully. So I'm gonna do a check of the ring and see the tolerances and shit, and if everything is okay, I'm just gonna run it again for a couple times until I feel that compression is getting lower, and then I'll change it. So that's the cylinder. Then for intake, well, I forgot something. So the cases are milled to 47, and you also have to do a lot of milling to fit, because the transfers of the cylinder are bigger on this than the Malossi, so you have to port match the transfer ports and stuff like that, make the flow a little better. Reed intake PRE, so the engine is actually milled for a Pulley valve, which is a bit wider and a bit longer. I'm not sure, the problem was there wasn't a spacer under the reed valve, and it was too close, and the reeds broke way too early. This reed, I have been running it, and the reeds still look perfect. They are like, it's amazing for me, because on my RT I always had to change reeds, but now I have not even touched them. So this looks like Malossi really calculated very good how the space and the like how it is placed and shit, and the length of the reed. And so if you use this combo, Malossi VL18 and this, it works. But for better, I've seen now many people start using V-force reeds and bigger intakes, and I'm not gonna do V-force because I want to use the NOS on it, and for NOS you need a metal reed, so preferably coated with rubber. So that's the best for NOS, because I used my other tests, actually I made reeds explode basically with the NOS, like the cage fully deformed. So yeah, what do we have? We have a VL18 and a Malossi, still stock. Even the intake is only 28 millimeters, pure bone stock in intake Malossi and VL18. And then let's go to the back of the engine. For the gearbox, I use a gearing of 776 RF. So that means for every 7 turns of the engine, or 7.76 turns of this shaft, the wheel turns 1 revolution. So then this benefit of this gearbox is it's fully with bearings, so it's 2 roller bearings and 1 needle bearing. And yeah, it's basically reduces friction. But I still want to test later on to put every bearing in the gearbox. That's a ball bearing, make it in ceramic, because I think there's still possibility to reduce the friction in the gearbox. And they also make seals with better coating, PTFE coating on the inside. So maybe we can reduce some friction in the gearbox that way. I'm gonna test that and see if it, like, the ceramic bearings are good or not. They came down a lot in price. I see 2Win makes sets now, and Scootfast also makes ceramic bearing sets for gearboxes and for crankshafts. So yeah, I want to do ceramic bearing in the back, so the outgoing axle, the ingoing of the primary axle, then the middle axle is a roller bearing, then the two crankshaft bearings, the one in the pulley, there's one there too for the clutch, and then the one, the most important one's also in the front wheel. So here there's a bearing that I want to reduce friction in, because that's pretty tough, and here too, so two bearings on either side, and then the one on the torsion for the front wheel I already have. That's here, and the benefit, this one is already in the, I put it in the album too. If I weighed it actually, and because the ceramic balls are lighter, it also like reduces some weight just in bearings, because the balls for ceramic are lighter, but and also stronger than metal. It's not like the white stuff. It's really, it's I don't know the exact thing, but it's like a coating or something on the balls, or fully, I don't know. It's pretty like space age stuff. Yeah, and then on the other side, so I mentioned one thing I forgot was with the, so the engine case is actually milled a bit wider to fit the Pulley pre-valve. So what I'm gonna do is first of all make a spacer. Maybe I'll check when it's open again, the cases, and with the spacer maybe we can point it like better to the transfers, and then so a spacer, the Pulley pre-valve, which is metal and rubber coated, and then I'm gonna put this intake back, because this Pulley pre intake has a bigger hole than this one. I don't know if you can see it good, but this has a very, it's only 28 millimeters and the carb is 35. So yeah, I'm gonna put the Pulley pre intake back. So then we go over to the ignition. For the ignition I have chosen the PVL. It's, many people in the racing scene use this, and it's one of the best ignitions you can buy, and it's like even cheap. I saw like now on Scooter Attack they have a promo for $2.95. You can get the whole ignition, plus I also run a 300 gram disc on it to make it a bit heavier, for to make everything, yeah, like a mass plate they call it, because this is 100cc and it likes a bit of mass on the crank. So yeah, this is a very nice ignition, and now I have the nice bolt too. So that's pretty much like the internals, and then we go over to the Vario and the clutch and the bell. So for Vario I chose Pulley Vario, the new model with the big plastic things, because on my RT these things used to break a lot, but now with this one I have good luck. They last much longer. And I noticed though that there's some chippings on the bus, so I saw the new Pulley Vario has a DLC coating now. So diamond-like carbon coating, which reduces friction and also like makes it harder, I think, and smoother, a lot smoother. So the thing, it needs to shift a lot up and down in here, so this will be a lot smoother for shifting. Then the problem I think I always had, because I never used the air vent on this. Why? Because I said that's used a lot in sprinting, but now that I take it out a lot more for drives on the road, I think I'm gonna put back another Kickstart cover. So the thing with this is, if you use one of these things, it's best to use the old version Kickstarter, because it's flat. The new one has a little ledge on it, and it's more meant for the Malossi things and for the other models which have a little inwards in the pulley. But this one is flat, so I chose this one because I actually one time on my RT I broke this whole thing. So this is coated with ceramic, so for more grip, and it weighs like almost nothing. It's a bit dirty now, but it's gonna get cleaned and put back. Then for the pulley, I chose Too Fast. Very good pulley. But I think I'm now gonna check also the new Pullini, because it has the ceramic coating for the grip. And they also do the, I know my friend Domin told me he has it, and now they also do the DLC coating on the actual thing, like the surfaces, to make it go up and down, so also reduce friction in there. So I think I'm gonna test that, because this one is already, well, it's still very good, but it's getting old and I just want to test the new stuff. So as clutch, I also use Pullini 3G with the blue springs on about 8,000 RPM, and then the red Too Fast spring. Then for clutch bell, I use the Malossi, the latest one they have with the venting holes. It has some nice holes to vent the air and the debris. And yeah, I like this a lot. It's very strong. And then for carb, as final part, it's the Keihin 35 Air Striker. So the Air Striker has these fins to direct, I don't know what it actually does. It directs the air a bit better, I think, on like the bottom end of the, when it's, and it has a bell on it, but the bell still needs to be modified and then polished. And or maybe even just totally remove the bell, because it's very heavy and I'm not sure if it really helps. I'm like gonna modify it and then test it, like see if it's noticeable difference or not, because this sucks, because this makes it have 70mm, and then you can't use very good, you can use very good air filters, but they're all pretty like big, and I don't have much room, so I would like to run the Malossi E13 air filter, and that's 58, so this fits only when the bell is not on it. So yeah, that's pretty much all the parts in the engine. Then we also still have the Kickstart cover, and like I said, because I didn't use air vent and now do longer drives on the road or on the track, I'm thinking about putting back air scoops. And I noticed the Pullini, the new Pullini, has also air scoops here in plastic, so very light, and so air scoops in the front, air scoops in the back. And then the thing is, I tried to modify this to make holes for like cooling, but I heard that the new Malossi cover has really good like internal, they calculated it really good to have a lot of flow across the whole transmission, and you can put a piece in the front, plastic piece, to make like to take the air in while you drive and then push it out where you want it on the back. So that's gonna be nice. I'm gonna get the new mollusty cover and polish it. For Kickstarter, today I found a cool hack, actually I didn't know existed. So I saw that Stage 6 has made a new version of their Kickstarter, and what they did was they just like imagine this totally gone, like just this piece but wider here, and then they put 2 bolts but like here, and they like this whole piece, this piece is separate from the Kickstarter, so you can make this in steel and then just do titanium bolts, and then you plug in aluminum, because this is the heavy part. You notice when you hold it too, is this is very heavy, like almost half a kilogram, like 400 grams or something, almost, for 380 or something. So 380 grams for just a Kickstarter, there you can save a lot, I think. If we make just a piece like this with the splines, with bolts, and then you mill an aluminum end, so a leg, so this doesn't need to be that strong, you can just make a good design, and then yeah, I still want the thing that it can clap in, because when you want to do that for racing, because sometimes if it's not clapped in, you could maybe touch the ground or touch your leg, or I don't know. So I'm still thinking how to do that, but I got it figured out until here, so I could buy the Stage 6 Kickstarter for this part and this part, and then just make something custom so it can clap in and out. Yeah, so that's pretty much the whole engine. See you later, guys. Thanks for watching, and until the next video. Maybe the next video will be some like continuing of the build, or I don't know. Or maybe this will be like a 2-part video. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.